All right, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Halal Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone, and salutations to you brothers pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Now, I just was watching this video. I'm not going to play it because I got this on Do Not Disturb, but the title of the video is, and it's from Arrows of Indignation. He puts up videos and clips, of different people, raising their sentiments, their concerns, their anger about the current situation in Babylon the Great. Not all, about the current situation in Babylon the Great. Now, so basically, these are Edomite, look like Edomite looking men complaining about the situation. Now, in the beginning of the video, you had one man. He said that his he was getting thousands of dollars for food stamps, but it had been diminished to $350, and the states are putting out, mailing out letters to them saying because of the recent decision done by the Trump administration, we have to cut your food stamp benefits, your SNAP benefits, because that's what they call SNAP. People basically losing it. All right, they're losing it because they voted for Trump, and they're not seeing the results they anticipated that Trump would bring. As he was campaigning, he has pivoted to basically what we knew what he was going to do, pushing the agenda of the elites. Okay, so all of these legislation, the big beautiful bill, these policies that are being created and bills that are being passed is to bring forth that New World Order agenda while leaving out the poor and the needy, all right, of this society. Okay, your average Babylonian, either poor or working to keep up. All right, but everybody's becoming poor while the rich are buying up assets, and you got Wall Street intertwining in the midst of every aspect of life, or intertwining into the mix of every aspect of life, and you have the rich getting richer. All right, so let's go. Let's see. I'm just gonna hit some scriptures. Okay. First, I'm gonna go to the book of James. This is James 5:1. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." I'm gonna read it in NLT. It says, "Look here, you rich people, weep and groan with anguish because of all the terrible troubles ahead of you." I'm just jumping back. It says, "Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten." NLT, it says, "Your wealth is rotting away and your fine clothes are moth-eaten rags." It says, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days." It says, "Your gold and silver has become worthless. The very wealth you were counting on will eat away your flesh like fire. This treasure you have accumulated will stand as evidence against you on the day of judgment." Verse 4 says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth." It says, "For listen here, the cries of the field workers whom you have cheated of their pay. The wages you held back cry out against you, and the cries of those who harvest your fields have reached the ears of the Lord of heaven's armies." So ultimately, that's going into the cry of the Most High's elect. All right, because the scriptures speak of the prayer of the righteous man pierces the clouds. So, we see what the elites are doing by how they're creating this society, how they set up these corporations. All right, all your money, the majority of your money that you way that you labor for is set up to go into the pockets of these corporations that the elite international bankers are behind, like insurance. You got your, even when you get your check goes into a bank, all right, which the direct deposit, which the elites are in control of these banks through the Federal Reserve System, which is a fractional reserve system. They don't have the money in the bank that they're able to loan out, all right, but they loan it out with interest, and you're forced to pay interest, and the interest rates are going to continually climb as Babylon the Great continues to add money to their national debt, to the point where it's going to just be a time where they're only going to be able to pay for the interest on the debt. So then when companies or countries can't afford to maintain and operate, they have to go into bankruptcy, right, which means they have to sell their assets. And the United States is already in a form of bankruptcy. That's why they're talking about selling a lot of their assets when it comes to state land or federal government-owned land. You know, these different, you know, tolls are going to different companies that are controlled by other entities outside of the country. Right? Things become cheap, you know, for corporations and countries to buy up American assets. And this is the same thing that happens overseas. What happens is, you know, countries can't afford, you know, to keep up certain things, so then they privatize it. When they privatize it, the company that, you know, buys into it, they have to make a profit. They have to make a return. They're looking to make a return on their money, whether it be for their investors or their shareholders, or just to keep the company afloat. Then the people that utilize the asset, that work, all right, they can't afford it. So now you have a society, you have a population of people that live in a society, that have lived in a society that they can no longer afford. All right, then you're going to have riots and a lot of turmoil. The crime is a symptom of a decaying society, an increase in crime, especially when it comes to property crimes, come to vandalism, stealing. That's a sign that your society is collapsing. All right, because people need it, somebody else has it, and they'll come and take it. All right, and then furthermore, it shows when the government or the legislation, your different municipality, all right, pretty much is lenient on the criminals, all right, and the people who are victims of the crime, they don't have a remedy to the situation in which the criminals caused. So you have something brewing. All right, you have something brewing. So I'm gonna read it again. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for the miseries that shall come upon you." Yeah, because the elites have caused a lot of this misery, all right, in which people are able, in which people are forced to live in, you know, through their policy. All right, let me go to this is the book of Sirach 10 and 1. Sirach 10 and 1, it says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. All right, so you don't have wise judges in this society because they don't instruct their people in righteousness. Instead, they get into positions and they extract, all right, the wealth from the people. They put burdens upon the citizens, all right, in order to keep their livelihood afloat. And this is industry standard. All right, this is just what the industry does. All right, industry meaning government. All right, they put burdens upon the people. They create problems. Then they come back to pass laws to remedy or remediate the problems that they cause. All right, it says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. So if you have the judge of the people being thieves, robbers, extortionists, you know, takers of bribes, corner cutters, that's what the people are going to be. It says, so are his officers, and what manner of a, it says, so are his officers. All right, so the elites are crooks. The officers, which are, you know, your presidents, your senators, your congressmen, all right, they're cooked too, man. They're all a part of the conspiracy. You got a warden of a jail. If he's corrupt, the his lieutenants, his deputies under him, they're going to be corrupt. It's just a culture of corruption. That's why you have the scriptures speak of the Most High have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. In Egypt, America is the modern day Egypt. So it don't matter what institution that you're dealing with, whether it be banking, education, government, or governance, down to your up to the federal government, down to your local municipality, your county government, your county council. It's all has been corrupted. It's all been corrupted. There's lobbyists that lobby politicians to pass laws that's going to benefit corporations and hurt the working class, hurt the toiler. All right, that's why ultimately the prayers of the righteous are going to come up before the Lord, and the Lord is going to send his son and the armies to overtake the rulers of the earth. It says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. All right, and that's why we're waiting for Yahweh Shai. All right, in due time he will set over one that is profitable. In the hands of the Most High is the prosperity of man, and upon the persons of the scribes shall he lay his honor. The point is in verse 8. I'm just reading down. It says, in the hand of the Most High, it says, bear not hatred to thy neighbor for every wrong, and do nothing at all by injurious practices. Pride is hateful before the Most High in man, and by both doth one commit iniquity. Here's the point. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. All right. So you have the way of this society in which the elites rule, and they rule in unrighteousness. And that unrighteousness that they rule, they cause injuries. They have accumulated riches which have been gotten by deceit. All right, and that's why the Most High is going to take them out of power. All right, now let me go to the book of Second Ezra real quick, and I'll go to Second Ezra 15. Now these people, they have you know, they voted for Trump. Trump, make America great again. That was the slogan. All right, and people didn't want to deal with inflation. Now Trump comes in, he bringing forth his policies with tariffs and his agenda to get rid of all illegals, rid America from all the illegals. All right, and you know, you have ICE, Border Patrol, you got alligator Alcatraz internment camps being created. You have legislation being passed that strengthens the surveillance state upon the citizens. Okay, you have all types of things being said that Donald Trump is doing, which some minds say this is what you voted for. When you voted for Donald Trump, you voted for this. But ultimately, when you voted, you didn't know that you were involuntarily voting for prophecy to be fulfilled. Okay, and either way, it could have been Kamala, it could have been Donald Trump. Either way, there's an agenda being pushed upon you. Okay, this is 2 Ezra 15 and 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Okay, and ultimately that's what's coming, the sword and destruction. More death is coming. It says, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Yeah, all right, because it's only inevitable that you see clashes on the streets amongst American citizens. Clashes, American citizens against the authorities. all right, on the streets of America. You're going to see civil war. Well, civil war is the worst type of war, all right, to deal with, because a lot of times there's no clear defined battle lines. There's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. All right, the people caught in between, the people caught in the middle become the victims, and a lot of times those are what this world calls innocent women and children. But like the scriptures in Job say, whoever died being innocent. And then also in Proverbs 28, it's either 4 or 5, it says evil men understand not judgment. All right, so when these things take place, a lot of times you even see children, dead women, children. Sometimes you see women with children that are dead in the streets. Okay, and that's going to become a time in America, in Babylon, as we see the society completely going into a complete collapse. All right, see, right now they're trying to transition this society into a digital technocracy. All right, and out with the old and in with the new, which that means a lot of people are going to be hurting. All right, a lot of people that were accustomed to getting government benefits and being taken care of by the government, sometimes for generations. Here's the cutoff point, and people have gotten so used to not doing anything for themselves and just being able to, go on through life without any adversity. They're going to lose it. Okay, it says, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Yeah, a lot of people crashing out, a lot of agitations amongst people. Okay, wait till these people can't get their cigarettes, their drugs, because a lot of people, just to cope and get through from day to day, a lot of people are on drugs. All right, whether it be hard drugs like opioids, cocaine, methamphetamines, or even drugs like sugar, coffee, these things that people operate on. All right, it says, for there shall be sedition among men, uprisings, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And do you blame them for not regarding their kings and princes? Now, with this Trump and this Epstein list, and Donald Trump switching and pivoting from what his son said, they were talking, hey, prior to the election, and this is what a lot of average citizens know, a politician is way different when he's campaigning to when he gets into that office. All right, the politician can sell you the dream of, turning America into a everybody get $1 billion. He could sell you that. But when he gets into that office, something will happen, something will take place where he can't do that. All right, he's not going to do that, and that's ultimately going to angry people. People voted for Trump for different reasons. All right, you had prior administration allow everybody to come through the border. We know that they were funneling money through these different organizations to push forth an agenda to create chaos and instability. Now you had this guy, he runs on making things stable, and in the process of him making things stable, he's making things worse. All right, which the average person that voted for him, that needed some type of help, or some type of some type of comfort in the fact that the government will take care of what the government needs to take care of, and him being the only sign of him being the best viable candidate to change America, and he gets in there and he doesn't do it, man, people are going to lose it. People are already losing. All right, it says, for a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah, because people thought that America was the greatest country. America ain't the greatest country. America has a huge homeless problem, Huge homeless epidemic. A lot of people on drugs. A lot of people are mentally unstable. And you have a recipe for chaos out here. Okay? You have a recipe for chaos, complete chaos that's going to take place in this society. Alright? And we see it. Meaning the prophets of the Lord, the prophets of Yahweh Bashim al-Shah. This is a powder keg waiting to explode. Let me go to the book of, let me stay in second Ezra. Let me go to 8 and 50. Second Ezra is it 7? 8 and 50. It says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. See, pride is coming back. Pride, pride, pride. You have individuals, you know, in the society that have walked their life in pride. They've not considered the Heavenly Father. They've not considered that there's a heavenly power. You know, they live to their own tune. There's no fear of the Lord in them. There's no fear. Okay? So there's going to be a lot of miseries that's going to come upon people. Misery refers to a state of great unhappiness, suffering, or distress, often stemming from misfortune or hardship. So these policies that the government are implementing, all right, it was what the elites did was fatten the American people up and destroy the psyche by taking things from them little and giving them oppression, all right, and doing it through legislation, doing it through public policy, all right, creating misfortune and unhappiness, all right. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. A lot of these laws, a lot of these bills and decrees that Esau puts in place, they're already prescribed, right? They're already pre-written. And what happens is they sign them into law, and a lot of them have unintended consequences, which actually affects the citizens and creates more problems. All right, and as we come into this, the end of this society, the path of Esau is getting narrower and narrower, in which he has to decree more decrees in which they're going to upset the people. So then he has to come with his whipping stick, all right, to whip the people in line, because the people are going to get out of line. All right, every time there's a riot, people say it's okay to protest, but not violent protests. You know, people are scared of violent protests. But the people that are bringing forth violence, that's the only thing that Esau knows is violence. But ultimately, violence is not was not going to deliver the elect. All right, the Heavenly Father is going to deliver the elect. I mean, violence is not going to change this society. This society was built on violence. Ultimately, this society is going to go out in great violence, which is those nuclear destruction. But the people resorting to violence out of desperation, they're going to be met with a heavy hand. Oh, before I do that, before I end the video, let me go into the misery index. So it says the misery index is an economic indicator calculated by adding the unemployment rate and the inflation rate. It's a simple gauge of how the average person might be feeling about the economy. A higher index score generally it says kind of messed up. Let me see. It says the misery index is an economic indicator created by the American economist Arthur Okun The index helps determine how the average citizen is doing economically and is calculated by adding the seasonably adjusted unemployment rate to the annual inflation rate. So this is how they get the misery index. So the highest in the misery index was 21.98, and that was June 1980, but it's current at 6.55. That's May 2025. That's the misery index. And the lowest the misery index was in the July 1953. So the lowest the misery index was in 1953. But that misery index is going to go off the wall at a point in time. And this, the misery index, the calculations is based off of unemployment in comparison to inflation. All right. But that misery index is going to go up. It's going to reach an all-time record. It's going to surpass what happened in the 80s pretty soon. It says, "For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." Okay, scriptures say pride cometh before destruction. All right, and a haughty spirit before a fall. All right, so, you know, these people, you know, that these citizens out here, man, they in misery. See, I can't. I can't really play the video right now because it's on. These Edomites are angry. They losing it. They angry. They frustrated. All right, and they mad about those Epstein files too, because they wanted to know what was going on in their government amongst those top ranking politicians. Why were they going to an island known for human trafficking, and women being, you know, felt on and done dirty, you know, allegedly, you know. And then you had these other conspiracy theories, which a lot of them turn out to be conspiracy fact, you know, about your different elected officials, and you know, a lot of things are being swept under the rug. So it's only a matter of time before you see complete chaos in the streets, because people are tired. People are losing everything. All right. So I'm gonna end the video here. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Akakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to you brothers pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Until the next video, shalom.